Waiter Tony brings 2 bowls of noodles. The female customer looks at them with disgust. She warns her son that if he doesn't study well, he'll end up like Tony working as a waiter. At that moment, the TV announces that Tony has won the National College Entrance Exam. The female customer is shocked, but Tony doesn't seem to care about the news, because 2 top universities have already offered him spots. One is a prestigious foreign university. The other is Tsinghua University in China. Without hesitation, Tony chooses Tsinghua. A foreigner asks him why he didn't pick their school. Tony looks at the acceptance letter. His heart races with excitement. He says he wants to study to help his country thrive, not to worship foreign culture. At that moment, he gets a call from his teacher's daughter. His teacher has fallen seriously ill. Tony rushes to the hospital. After asking around, he learns that his teacher has ALS, and there's no cure yet. Tony looks at his unconscious teacher. He remembers how his teacher took him in all those years ago. His teacher taught him everything about life and studying, treating him like a son. Seeing his teacher in that state, Tony decides to quit school and work to pay for his teacher's treatment. But when his teacher hears this, he immediately scolds Tony, telling him that all his hard work over the years can't go to waste. If Tony doesn't continue his studies, he won't consider him a student anymore. The teacher, in his agitation, spits out blood. Tony tells him their family only has enough money for one to go to university. It should go to his teacher's biological daughter. The kind-hearted girl also offers the opportunity to Tony. She says she'll stay home and wait for him to come back. Before leaving, Tony swears to himself that he will make something of himself to repay his teacher's kindness. 6 years pass in the blink of an eye. Tony hasn't been heard from during this time. His teacher's condition worsens, but he still worries about Tony. What he doesn't know is that, in the 6 years Tony has been out of touch, he has successfully developed a cure for ALS. The government rewards Tony with 10 billion in cash. Now, Tony is rich and honored. His non-disclosure agreement has also expired. He feels it's time to go back and repay his teacher. Meanwhile, the teacher's daughter hears on TV that a cure for ALS has been found. She is overjoyed. Her suffering father finally has a chance of recovery. But when she hears that the medicine costs $200,000, she feels hopeless. She's already spent all her money on her father's treatment. Even selling everything wouldn't raise $200,000. This makes her think of the teacher's thank you banquet today. Maybe, considering the teacher-student bond, she can borrow money for her father's treatment. So she quickly takes her father to the banquet. At the same time, Tony rushes home, but they miss each other. The girl arrives at the banquet with her father, only to be ridiculed by the rich students and others. They mock that the teacher hasn't died yet. They even angrily curse the teacher for being too strict in school. Little do they know, it was the teacher's strict guidance that made them successful today. When the girl asks to borrow money for the medicine, everyone laughs at her. They think it's a waste of society's resources, since her teacher is so old. Then the rich second generation calls security to kick them out. In this tense moment, Tony finally arrives with gifts. Seeing his bullied teacher, Tony is overwhelmed with emotion. But when the girl sees Tony return, she slaps him directly.